Welcome everyone to another top 7 video. Today we are counting down the 7 best premium tanks in World of Tanks. And I'm going to preference this again by saying that this list is not opinion based. These are strictly stats from the Watt Marks of Excellence website. They keep track of the last 2 weeks a tank has played, and they show you 100% damage standing. 100% damage standing is twice the average damage in a tank, at least on that website. It's different in game. So that's how we're getting these numbers. We're just taking the 100% and dividing by 2, and that is the answer. But before we jump into this list, I also want to say this, guys. We have 19,100 people who watch this channel regularly, but we only have 16,800 subscribers. So there's almost 3,000 of you folks who watch the channel regularly when we post, but do not subscribe. So make sure you're subscribed. And then there are 38,700 people who tune into the channel total. So guys, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe today. Good stuff coming up. But now, number 7, the T41E1, the Bulldog, relaunched in World of Tanks. They removed the 10-shot autoloader, and then many years later they released a premium tier 8 version with just a better gun. This is actually better, tier for tier, than the Bulldog was. And it's really good. You have 1,700 potential damage in your magazine, not 1,500, and you have better power weight ratio, and you have better gun handling. It's just an all-around superior vehicle. Now, this tank in the last 2 weeks has been played 6,228 times, and the average combined damage in the T54E1 is 2,068. This tank is, on average, almost doubling its hit points per game from the average Joe. That is how good this tank is doing. And this is number 7. This is at the bottom of this top 7 list. And so I'm sure you can only imagine just how crazy some of these numbers are going to get. Number 6 has the worst DPM of any tier 8 in the game. In fact, it has worse DPM than, I believe, any tier 7 in the game. It's like, how is it on this list? Well, it's because of its passive ability, and because it does have a clip. You're able to put in 660 damage real quick, then run away for 30 minutes, or hide for 30 minutes, or whatever else you want to do, and rinse and repeat. But it's about that camouflage and the small profile, and it is the Vanguard ELC even 90. Here it is. Very tiny tank, insane camouflage, fantastic top speed limit, not so great power weight ratio, not so great a gun. Despite that, it has been played, and this is the skinned version, by the way. So there's a non-skin version that only adds to this, but it's been played 18,398 times in the last 2 weeks. And the average combined damage in this tank is 2,077. Absolutely crazy numbers, considering you only have 900 health, and that's because you just find a bush and you sit in it, and your team, hopefully, if you have one, just rips apart the enemy, as you were seeing in the background. Just find a bush, sit in it, win the game. Bada bing, bada boom. Vanguard ELC even 90 at number 6 on the list. At number 5, we have our first and only Crimson tank on the list, another autoloader, and you're going to notice very quickly that every tank on this list is in fact some form of autoloader, or at least has that kind of a mechanic. A lot of Unicums and Super Unicums take advantage of that and can just dish out a ton of damage. Plus, this tank having APCR as its premium rounds rather than heat is absolutely incredible. The standard on this tank is really bad, so you're going to find a lot of people spamming those premium rounds in this tank, and that's just the nature of the beast. But the Ragnarok, it is a T34-100 with a 3-shot autoloader, 320 alpha per shot, meaning you're cooking out 960 damage in your average magazine, unless you roll low like I did the first magazine in this one. Because this is a bit more expensive, it doesn't have as many games as you might think. It's at 7,302, plus it is a more rare tank because you have to buy on certain points, at certain points, and it's never been free in the game, but still 7,302 games in the last 2 weeks, and it is averaging 2,083 damage per game. And And that's gonna mostly be raw now. We were just talking about two tanks that could definitely get some good spotting assist damage. Now we're talking about a tank that is probably doing most of that damage on its own with its gun. I mean, just 2 magazines, then you're up to 2,000 damage. And that is, well, again, that's the average that people are doing in this tank. You don't even need to get any assist damage. But already in 2 magazines, I also have 400 assist damage on top of it. So I'm already above average in what you need, or what people are doing in this tank. And that's just, I don't know, this tank is absolutely crazy. And this game, we're definitely going to have to release this video by itself, this replay by itself at some point, because it's an absolutely crazy game that we're playing in the background. Our team is losing. We have to kind of clutch it a little bit. We're putting out shot after shot after shot. And let me tell you another thing about this list that I'm showing you guys. Yesterday when I did the bad tanks, it took me forever to get games. This one, most of the tanks took 1 game. They are that good. It was absolutely insane just how easy these tanks were to play and how easy they were to have crazy games that I was able to show in the background, showing exactly what the tanks are made of. Number 4 is another tank that is going to be a little bit more rare on this list, though in the grand scheme of things not rare at all, because you will see these everywhere just compared to the other tanks, and that is because of its high price and the fact that you can only get this at certain points of the year, specifically Black Friday, unless of course Wargamers like, oh, just kidding, which they've done before. But it is the Object 703-2 Black Edition. We do not have the standard skin yet. I'm sure we will have it soon. But the Object 703-2 Black Edition, with its 75% experience booster, which does go toward crew XP, is cooking out at 2,088 average damage a game. Oof, with 5,112 games in the last 2 weeks. And there's an easy reason as to why this tank is doing so well. It is because we have broken double barrel mechanics in this game. This tank is literally the Scourge hull, which is fantastic, by the way, or the Corvette's 1. Fantastic hull on this tank. And it also has the same gun, except there's 2 of them, and they reload independently, unlike on PC, where you get penalized for firing one of your shots. Both of these are always just reloading. You don't need to charge up your double shot, which is what I just pulled on that VK, who pulled out sideways on the icebreaker. We just popped him straight in the face without having to charge up for a second and a half. Really easy to do. And so your DPM is basically doubled from what it says it is, because there's no penalty for firing. You just have the 5 seconds interclip. That's it. But your other gun is already loaded. Unbelievable mechanic. It's truly, and it doesn't interrupt the other reload like on PC. Like if you fire off your shell, then it interrupts the reload. You don't get that here on console. Your guns are always just loading, always loading, and so you do not lose DPM for firing. Your DPM is absolutely insane. It says 2,200 per gun. It's probably that and a half because of the interclip, and so you're probably sitting at over 3,000 DPM in this tank, which is absolutely stinking nuts. And it's just, plus the armor to boot, it's better than the IS-3. It's comparable, not so much to the Defender, but the upper plate certainly is. And especially against lower tier targets or same tier targets, your hull is very, very respectable indeed, and your turret is also very respectable. Smaller cupolas than on the Defender. It doesn't have that flat, overmatchable roof that the IS-3 has, and it's not a slow tank at all. It does very well. And that, my friends, is the 703 Black, number 4 on this list, for very, very good reasons. Now, this next tank, I never had the opportunity to play. I never bought it, I never received it, and so this was the first time I got to play it. It's at number 3, the top 3, another autoloader, they all are. It's the Astron Rex. This tank blew my mind just how good it actually is. Again, it's another one of those that people spam premium rounds in, and it does get APCR. Your standard rounds are only 190, and that's why if you see this tank on the battlefield, it's probably shooting gold. Man, oh man, I was surprised by the armor it had. It backs up at 40 kilometers an hour, which is absolutely insane. It's got a 5-shot autoloader, 4 seconds under clip, which can be a long time, but I mean, you saw what we did to that T-32A. We were able to put 3 shots into him for 960 damage, and then another one into the S-Pack, the new French 2-shot tank, So that's pretty cool that we got to do that. And by the way, I have a sneaking suspicion that tank is going to be on this list if we were to do it again in about a month. For sure. But who knows? Who knows at all? But man, oh man, I'm just surprised just how well this tank cooks. It just cooks people. Tracking shots, blocks damage, has gun depression. The only thing it doesn't have going for it is the standard penetration and the interclip reload. Otherwise, wow, this blew me away. I mean, this is it. I got to play this tank for the first time, and this is the game I had. Blew me away just how good it was. And I'll definitely probably do a full video, or at least release this full replay somewhere at some point, just so you can see exactly what this tank is capable of if you've never seen it. But let's now talk about how often it's played. Well, now we're stepping up a little bit. 6,977 games in the last 2 weeks, and the average damage is 2,096. Gone up from the 703. Obviously, we are at number 3, and so of course this tank has gone up. And yeah, that is, my friends, the Astron Rex. Crazy tank, crazy potential. One of the best games at Tier 8 I've ever seen was on this tank, or in this tank, when it was sent to me. It was 8,900 damage done on Malinoff, or what's it called? Westfield. That's the one, on Westfield. Crazy game. It was a defeat too. But yeah, this tank is cooking. Doesn't have a long reload, unless you're Amarek like I am now. Otherwise, whew, fantastic tank. Number 2 is highly debated among the community. In fact, I would say that this one, by many players, is considered to be the best. However, numbers are going to say otherwise. It's the Mantis, and we'll get into what tank it's compared to at number 1, because that one outperforms it by a lot and is played more. But we're talking about the Mantis at the moment, a released mercenary tank, premium, that you could buy, 4-shot autoloader, has the T57 a heavy turret for some reason instead of the T69 turret. Don't know why they did that on this LTG hull. So you're very fast, very low profile, a fantastic little gun here. Most people fire heat. I fire AP because I'm a cheapskate. And you can do some good damage. But you don't do it too quickly. You have 2 seconds interclip, 240 alpha damage. So it's taking you 6 seconds to get all 4 shots out. So definitely keep that in mind as you're playing this tank. And again, the penetration I don't believe is the greatest. I think it's like 212. So it's actually not terrible. But that's right there what you can do with this tank. 4 shots into the tire. We do take a hit in return. But we do have also this crazy camouflage. Crazy mobility, crazy camouflage, a decent gun. The turret is strong because it's the T57 or the T77. And it's at tier 8 on a little tiny tank that zooms around and is mostly turret. Not so much hull, more turret than hull. So you're very likely to bounce off of this or hit it in the tracks. It's an obnoxious tank to actually try to deal with when it's zooming around at full speed. Very hard to pen sometimes. And for that reason, I'll give it a plus. I'll give it a plus over the next tank that we're going to show. But numbers don't lie. And this tank has played 22,000. Did you hear what I just said? We just went from 5,000s and 6,000 to 22,000. 22,180 times in the last 2 weeks. And the damage jumped up from 2,096 all the way up to 2,165 damage. You've jumped up almost 100 damage from number 3 to number 2. And just so you know, from number 7 to number 3, it only changed 30 damage average per game. That's it. Now you're jumping from 3 to 2 and you're jumping up almost 100. And wait till you jump from number 2 to number 1. It's even crazier. But the Mantis mercenary tank, pretty good. I do like it, but I don't like it more than number 1, which is why you don't usually see me play the Mantis. Now, I'm sure you've all had a chance to guess what this number 1 tank is going to be, and it was quite obvious, I would argue. The Barask. Like, oh, if it's not the Mantis, then it must be the Barask. And the reason I think this one is better is because it just gets up and goes a little bit quicker, and it has a 2-shot rather than a 4-shot. And the 2-shot means you're waiting 2 seconds to unload 2 360 alpha damage shots, meaning 720 damage in 2 seconds. So you're not exposed as long. And you get APCR as your premium secondary, which is fantastic. And APCR is your premium primary, but the penetration is awful on your standard. I think it's like 190. So pretty bad, just like the Astron Rex. So most people are, again, shooting premium APCR out of this tank. Again, what does this have? Fantastic camouflage values, fantastic power to weight, fantastic maneuverability, fantastic gun. Low health, 1250. But let's get into the numbers now. So we've gone from 22,000 games in the last 2 weeks up to 27,546 games in the last 2 weeks. 5,000 more games of the Mantis. So people are playing this more, liking it more, or maybe they just don't have the other one. I don't know. But it's being played more. And then if we look at the numbers, so if this is being played more, that means more generic players have it, yet the average damage in this has gone up another 100 per game. 22,063 damage per game. It beats, I'm going to use exact numbers now, it beats number 2, the Mantis, by 98 damage per game. That is huge. When you're talking about tanks, you know, trying to balance tanks and keep tanks a certain way and making sure they're playing fairly and a huge pool of players playing these tanks, which they are, 27,000, 22,000, you would expect the numbers to be closer, but to be 98 apart really shows how crazy good this Barask is, being at number 1 on this list. And let me tell you, I was not surprised by any of these. And maybe the Astron Rex, simply because I've never played it, so I had no idea it was played so well. But other than that, I mean, are you even surprised? Probably not. That, my friends, or those, my friends, because they're plural, are the best premium tanks in World of Tanks. And that is based on stats. And all these tanks had to be played at least 1,000 times for them to be eligible for this list. And I have another list that's going to be coming out soon where we're talking about the best rare tanks. The ones that are played less than 800 times in the last 2 weeks and are at the top of the leaderboard. They pale in comparison. Damage-wise, they pale in comparison. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why certain tanks aren't played. Probably because they're not that great. But that list will be coming out soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button, comment, subscribe, and let me know if any of these tanks were a surprise to you, or if you're expecting something else, or it was kind of obvious what tanks would be where. And that is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already, and I'll be catching you guys all later. Take care, everyone, and peace out.